Hey everyone, welcome back to our recap of Season 2. If you haven't seen Season 1, check the link in the description box for a recap. Now, let's get started where we left. In 1921, on June 21st, we see little Noah and his companion making their way through the Winden Caves. They're creating a path that will be used for time travel in the future. But then, little Noah kills his companion because he believes his partner no longer trusts the prophecy. Young Noah appears and tells little Noah that he did the right thing and should always listen to his heart. These characters are part of a secret time travel group called Sic Mundus, led by Adam. According to Adam's prophecy, a catastrophic event will occur on June 27, 2020, resulting in many deaths. However, after this event, everything will be reset and the world will be reborn. The characters from the previous season have been preparing for this apocalypse. Adam sends Noah on a mission to find the missing pages of Claudia's diary. Fast forward to June 2020. A new investigator, Clausen, arrives in Winden and joins Charlotte's team to investigate. The police are searching for Ulrich, Helga, and Jonas, who have gone missing with the children. Bartosz and Martha have broken up, and Bartosz is now fully focused on carrying out the orders given by Noah. Meanwhile, Katerina is also investigating the Winden Caves, but hasn't found anything. Adult Jonas meets with his mother and reveals the truth. We learn that Torben is the brother of a transgender prostitute named Benny, who is hiding something. With Torben's help, Alexander is hiding radiation barrels. Then, Elizabeth recognizes Noah in a group picture that was attached to the tan house shop. Peter immediately calls Charlotte in the bunker and shows her the photo, which has the words Sic Mundus written on it, along with the phrase, "Thus the world was created," and the date January 8, 1921. In 2053, Jonas learns about the apocalypse that occurred on June 27, 2020. The people who took over Jonas are led by adult Elizabeth, who somehow survived the apocalypse. Jonas decides to try and stop the apocalypse from happening. But according to the rules, if he enters the nuclear power plant, he will be punished and must take his own life. Jonas secretly enters the power plant and sees a big sphere of gold particles in front of him. In 1987, old Claudia goes to the plant and meets young Claudia, telling her about time travel. Claudia says she hid a time machine near her house, and they might be able to use it to stop Sic Mundus and Adam from succeeding in their mission. Meanwhile, old Egon learns he has cancer, but he can't get the 1953 case out of his mind. He starts his research again and, after talking to Helgi, meets old Ulrich, who was admitted to a mental institution. Ulrich tells him that he doesn't understand their game and insults him, sending him away. In 2020, Clausen and Charlotte meet Regina during their investigation, as she was one of the last people to see Ulrich before he disappeared. Regina tells them that the unknown man is actually adult Jonas. During the investigation of Jonas's room, Charlotte finds pages from her grandfather, H.J. Tannhaus's books. Tannhaus had given her these books, and she grew up with them, but he never told her about her real parents. Charlotte's family is more complicated than Jonas's, and remembering this will be important later, as it will make things even more confusing. Adult Jonas tells Hannah about time travel and takes her to 1987 to show her the truth about Mikkel, also known as Michael. In 2053, Jonas discovers a recording of Claudia that reveals the secret of the God particle in the power plant. If the particle is stabilized, it can be used for time travel, but Jonas needs fuel to stabilize it. Jonas steals the fuel and tries to start the generator, but before he can, Elizabeth and her people catch him and try to hang him. However, Elizabeth shows mercy and decides to keep him alive, but not before the hanging noose leaves a permanent mark on Jonas's neck. Jonas manages to escape with the help of Elizabeth's partner, Celia, and they go to the power plant. With the fuel, Jonas starts the generator, and as soon as the dark matter stabilizes, he goes inside it. In 1954, after being missing for many months, Helgi meets his family. At the end of the previous season, Helgi had been working with Noah to build a time machine for 7 months. Helgi wasn't ready to talk to anyone else. He only wanted to talk to Noah. Then Noah comes and explains things to Helgi and his mother, helping Helgi recover. An affair starts between Egon's wife, Doris, and Ulrich's grandmother, Agnes. It's revealed that Agnes and Noah are brother and sister, and both work for Adam and Sic Mundus. However, Adam had kicked Agnes Agnes out, but Agnes has joined Sic Mundus again. Yeah, I know Ulrich and Noah are related. Old Claudia meets young Agnes and tells her about the final cycle of Sic Mundus, which is the plan for the apocalypse. Then Agnes goes to Noah and makes a deal with him that she'll give him Claudia's location and the missing papers, but in return, they have to let Agnes join back into their Sic Mundus group. Meanwhile, Claudia goes to meet young Egon. She appreciates him, but she is completely confused. Using the information given by Agnes, Noah tracks down the older Claudia and kills her. While searching her belongings, Noah finds some missing papers, but after reading them, he becomes upset. Whatever was written in those papers, Noah never reveals it to Adam. In 1987, Egon meets Ulrich and shows him a picture of Mikkel. Seeing the photo, the older Egon angrily attacks Ulrich, demanding answers about Mikkel. Despite the confrontation, Egon manages to save Ulrich's life and escapes the situation. At the same time, Claudia asks Helgi about time travel and, using her time machine, she travels to the year 2020. When young Claudia sees her daughter struggling with cancer, she breaks down and starts crying. In 2020, Hannah, adult Jonas, and Charlotte head to Peter's bunker. There, Jonas explains time travel and the Sic Mundus group. Most of the people believe Jonas, but Katharina thinks they're all crazy and leaves. Katarina goes to the school to check the old records. While there, she finds a photo of Mikkel from 1986. Meanwhile, the Claudia of 1986 goes to the library and starts looking up information about her family's past. She discovers that in 1987, she suddenly disappeared and her father died soon after. She learns that after her disappearance, Regina married Alexander, who became the director of the power plant, and Regina opened her hotel. After reading this, Claudia decides to travel to 1986. While Charlotte is busy with her personal mission, her colleague Clausen and Officer Torben continue their investigation. Clausen and Torben meet Alexander and start questioning him. After Alexander's marriage to Regina, he changed his last name to Tiedemann. Although this change is common now, back then it wasn't, which makes Clausen suspicious of Alexander, suspecting he's hiding something. Through his investigation, Clausen eventually uncovers Alexander's real name, Alexander Kohler. Martha, Magnus, Franziska, and Elizabeth decide to conduct their own secret investigation in the caves. While searching, they run into Bartosz. They immediately start questioning him about the time machine he had found in the past, but Bartosz refuses to give them any answers. Frustrated and suspicious, the group ties him up inside the caves and leaves him there, walking away without any more information. Meanwhile, in the year 2053, Elizabeth catches Celia sneaking out of the power plant. It's clear that Celia has learned about the dark matter and its strange power. This discovery leaves Elizabeth concerned. Back in 1921, Jonas becomes upset as he realizes that the dark matter is beginning to take over his life in that time period. He meets little Noah and Agnes and attempts to time travel through the caves again, hoping to escape this situation. However, after coming out of the cave, little Noah informs him that it will take another 32 years before the path can be used for time travel. Little Noah then leads Jonas to the church, where he introduces him to young Noah and Adam. In a shocking moment, Adam reveals a huge secret. He opens the collar of his shirt, showing Jonas a scar on his throat, the exact same scar that Jonas has. This makes Jonas realize that Adam is actually his older self. Adam is the future version of Jonas, who will one day become the leader of the Sic Mundus group. The shocking truth is that the hero and the villain of the story are the same person. In 1987, Claudia asks Egon to come home with her, hoping that by doing so, she can somehow prevent his death. At the same time, old Ulrich seizes an opportunity to escape from the mental institution. He finds his son, Mikkel, who immediately recognizes his father. The two try to flee towards the caves. However, just before Ulrich and Mikkel can enter the caves, Egon and his team catch up to them. They arrest Ulrich and take him away, leaving Mikkel to return to Inez's house, where Inez secretly drugs him by mixing something into his food. In 2020, Katarina tries to tell her children, Martha and Magnus, the truth about Mikkel, but they refuse to listen and walk out on her. Frustrated, Katharina turns to Hannah to discuss the situation. Just then, Clausen arrives and starts asking them questions about adult Jonas. Both Katharina and Hannah deny knowing him, but Clausen senses that something is not right. During this time, adult Jonas goes to Martha's house and leaves a necklace for her. This necklace will play an important role later. After leaving it for her, Jonas goes to meet with Charlotte. Charlotte tells Jonas what she knows about Noah and then reveals a personal secret about her family. She explains that her grandfather, Tannhaus, raised her, but he wasn't her biological grandfather. Charlotte admits that she still doesn't know who her real parents are, adding to the mystery. Meanwhile, Martha and her friends return to the caves and meet Bartosz again. This time, Bartosz finally decides to tell them about the time machine. They use the machine to travel to 1987, where old Ulrich sees them from inside a police car and recognizes them. When Martha gets back home, she finds a necklace left there by Jonas. At the same time, Noah meets Charlotte, who is sitting in Tannhaus's shop. He reveals to her that he is her father. Shocked, Charlotte immediately asks Noah about her mother, but instead of answering, Noah silently leaves. In 1921, a heated argument breaks out between Adam and Jonas. Jonas refuses to believe that one day he will become like Adam and share the same way of thinking. Adam tries to explain that he and the Sic Mundus group are at war with God. Their goal is to win the time travel war and create a timeless, godless world. But for this to happen, an apocalypse is needed. Adam then shows Jonas the time machine, which is powered by dark matter. With this machine, one can travel through time without the 33-year limit. Jonas makes a decision. He plans to use this time machine to go back one day before his father, Michael, dies and stop all of this from happening. He believes that if he prevents his father's death and stops Mikkel from traveling to 1986, everything will be fixed. However, by doing so, Jonas would lose his own existence. Despite this, Jonas enters the machine after Adam stabilizes the God particles. On June 20th, 2019, Jonas arrives in the past to save his father's life. Before heading home, he visits the lake and runs into the 2019 version of Martha. The two sit by the lake, enjoying the peaceful view. They find a pendant near the water, and Jonas suddenly remembers his promise to his grandmother to help her. He quickly leaves the lake to fulfill that promise. After Jonas of 2019 leaves, the time-traveling Jonas, filled with emotions, sits beside Martha and kisses her. On this same day, Ulrich and Katharina host a party to celebrate their wedding anniversary and invite their friends. Michael, however, has a bad feeling about the day, so he sends Hannah to the party alone. On the other side, due to relationship troubles, Charlotte also attends the party alone without Peter. During this time, an awkward moment occurs between Mikkel and Michael when they make eye contact, and both of them realize that something feels very wrong. Meanwhile, at the Nielsen's house, during the anniversary party, two new relationships begin. Martha and Jonas, from 2019, grow closer and fall in love, while Ulrich and Hannah begin an affair. Martha gives Jonas the necklace they found by the lake and asks, "Do you remember this necklace? This necklace will play an important role later on." Now here's where a mind-blowing revelation happens, so listen carefully. The time-traveling Jonas goes to his home and meets Mikkel, his father as a child. He hugs Mikkel and shows him the suicide note, pleading with him not to commit suicide. He says, "Papa, I know you're Mikkel. Please don't kill yourself." Surprised, Mikkel asks, "When was I going to commit suicide? When you were a child, I didn't disappear. I went into the cave holding your hand." Jonas is confused because he remembers holding Mikkel's hand and taking him into the cave, but falling into the forest outside instead. Suddenly, everything clicks into place. Jonas realizes that he didn't come back to break the cycle. He came to start it. Before time-traveling Jonas arrived, Michael had no intention of committing suicide. But after seeing Jonas from the future, Michael understands that in order to keep his son alive, he must take his own life. Jonas, unknowingly, plants the idea of suicide in his father's mind, thinking he's trying to save him. The man who took Mikkel's hand and led him into the cave wasn't the 2019 Jonas. It was the time-traveling Jonas. At this moment, old Claudia appears and reveals the truth to Jonas. She explains that Adam didn't send him back to save his father. Instead, Adam sent him back to ensure that Michael sees him and has the idea of committing suicide, thereby restarting the cycle. Claudia tells Jonas that even if he saves Michael, nothing will change. In fact, by saving his father, Jonas would erase his own existence, but it wouldn't stop the endless loop. Claudia also hints at something deeper, saying, "I've seen a world without Jonas, and things are not better there." She leaves Jonas with this cryptic message, which will make sense later in Season 3. For Jonas to win and for Adam to be defeated, Michael must sacrifice his life, ensuring the cycle continues just as it always has. In 1921, Adam, who is actually the older version of Jonas, still holds on to the necklace given to him by Martha years ago. Two members of the Sic Mundus group approach him to discuss Jonas's journey. These two individuals are none other than the older versions of Magnus and Francisca. On June 26, 1954, Aegon and his team discover the dead body of old Claudia. After conducting an investigation, they find high levels of radiation in her body. This discovery suggests a connection between Claudia and Helgi, as both appeared at the same time. Aegon shows young Helgi a sketch of Claudia, and although Helgi has never seen her in person, he has heard a lot about her. He refers to her as the White Devil. However, Helgi doesn't explain to Aegon how he knows about Claudia or why he calls her the White Devil. Meanwhile, Hannah uses adult Jonas's time machine to travel back to 1954. She goes to the police station and meets Ulrich, introducing herself as Katarina and claiming to be his wife. She offers Ulrich a deal. If he promises to leave Katarina and be with her, she will take him out of there. However, after hearing Ulrich's explanation, Hannah realizes she cannot trust him and, feeling betrayed, leaves him behind. In 1987, young Claudia begins to believe that the door to time travel was opened by the dark matter created at her own power plant. She confronts her father, Aegon, and asks him to move in with her, urging him to leave his home. But Aegon refuses, and during this conversation, he begins to sense that Claudia knows about time travel. Concerned, Aegon decides to report this and tries to close the caves and the power plant. However, Claudia doesn't want Aegon to take any action, as it would interfere with the timeline. This leads to a heated argument over the phone. In the midst of their fight, Aegon accidentally falls and hits his head, fatally wounding himself. Horrified but unable to stop it, Claudia realizes that she is responsible for her father's death. As Aegon lies dying, he utters his final words, calling Claudia the devil. Shaken and heartbroken, Claudia leaves him and returns to her home, consumed with guilt. At home, as Claudia weeps over the death of her father, Jonas from 2020 arrives. He tells her that they must go and fix everything in the future. In 2020, Martha realizes that Jonas has returned after seeing the necklace he left behind. She rushes to his home to meet him, but instead of young Jonas, she finds adult Jonas. He shares his entire story with her, explaining everything that has happened and why he is there. After this emotional conversation, they share an intimate moment. However, Katarina arrives just in time, pulls Martha away, and warns her, "Leave him, he's your nephew." Meanwhile, Clausen officially files a case against Alexander, accusing him of having a false identity. Clausen is convinced that Alexander Kohler is lying because he believes the real Alexander Kohler is his missing brother. As the situation escalates, the Doppler family also comes to terms with the reality of time travel and the challenges it has caused for their family members. On June 27, 2020, the day of the apocalypse, adult Jonas forcibly takes Martha to the bunker, warning her, "If you want to survive, don't leave this bunker." He locks her inside to protect her from the coming disaster. Elsewhere, Bartosz gives Regina a photo that was handed to him by her mother and apologizes to her on behalf of his mother. At the same time, Clausen heads to the nuclear plant with a search warrant, determined to investigate. Katarina goes to Hannah's house, using the time machine that Magnus and his friends had taken from Bartosz. She's there to confront Jonas about Mikkel's future. A heated argument erupts between them. Katarina insists that they can save Mikkel and bring him back, but Jonas tries to explain that while it may seem easy, it's not. He's tried countless methods, but no matter what, the outcome always aligns with the prophecy. He explains that everything that happens seems to be part of a predetermined cycle. During this time, Charlotte learns from Torben that Clausen is investigating the plant. A realization strikes her. This might be the moment that triggers the apocalypse. Even though Clausen doesn't intend to cause harm, his actions could activate the dark matter and start the final cycle. Noah, having foreseen the apocalypse, has already warned the Doppler family. He provides them with a way to survive, telling them that only those who take shelter in the bunker will be safe from the coming disaster. In 1987, Jonas and Claudia form an alliance, working together to counter Adam and the Sic Mundus group's plan. While Adam and his followers aim to destroy the world and create a new one, Jonas and Claudia focus on improving and fixing the existing world. To carry out their plan, Jonas and Claudia travel to 2020 through the caves. Once there, Claudia heads to the bunker with the time machine and Regina of 2020, while Jonas sets out to find Hannah and Martha. Back in 1921, Noah brings the missing papers of Claudia to Adam. However, after realizing the true nature of Adam's mission, Noah confronts him, angry, and feeling betrayed. Noah now knows that Adam is not waging a war against time and God, but rather against people themselves. In a rage, Noah tries to kill Adam, but he fails. Adam then reveals a shocking truth to Noah by showing him a photo of Elizabeth, dropping a bombshell for both Noah and the audience. It was previously known that Tannhaus wasn't Charlotte's real grandfather and that Noah was her father. However, the identity of Charlotte's mother remained a mystery. Adam reveals the mind-blowing truth. Charlotte's mother is none other than her own daughter, Elizabeth. Yes, Charlotte is the daughter of Elizabeth, and Elizabeth is the daughter of Charlotte, creating a strange and impossible loop. Adam explains that the only way to break this twisted loop is to press the reset button and start the world over. At that moment, Agnes arrives and kills her brother, Noah. Little Noah, witnessing this, leaves with adult Noah's body and travels to 2020. In 2020, little Noah gives a letter from Martha to adult Jonas. Upon reading it, Jonas is shocked, muttering that it's impossible. Noah tells him that to save Martha's life, the loop must be closed. Without further explanation, Noah leaves quickly, taking the time machine with him. Meanwhile, Peter and young Elizabeth hide in the bunker. As soon as the bunker door opens, they are surprised to see Martha run away from there. Even more shocking is that they find Claudia and Regina standing outside. Upon seeing Claudia, Peter is immediately alarmed, realizing that Claudia is the figure many call the White Devil. In 2020, Jonas returns home, desperately searching for his mother. Instead, he finds Martha there. Overcome with emotion, they embrace, holding each other tightly. But in the midst of this tender moment, Adam suddenly arrives and shoots Martha. As she falls to the ground, Adam coldly tells Jonas, "This is the moment that makes you become me in the future." Devastated, Jonas watches helplessly as Martha dies in his arms. Meanwhile, at the nuclear plant, Clausen activates the dark matter, also known as the God particle. At the same time, Katharina wanders through the caves, clutching her belongings. As she walks, a strange light appears, guiding her toward a door deep within the cave. Katharina opens the door, not knowing what lies beyond it. Inside the plant, the God particle begins to stabilize, and in the year 2053, adult Elizabeth starts a generator, activating the God particle once again. A massive portal forms within the plant, and through this portal, Elizabeth of 2053 comes face to face with Charlotte of 2020. Shocked and emotional, Elizabeth calls out to Charlotte, addressing her as Mom. The two move closer to one another, drawn together by the impossible reality of their relationship. At the same time, Jonas takes Magnus, Franziska, and Bartosz with him, using the time machine, intending to save their lives. No one knows exactly where adult Jonas takes them, but it is believed they may have gone to 1921 to escape the apocalypse. As the portal stabilizes further, Elizabeth and Charlotte reach out and touch each other. The moment they make contact, shockwaves erupt from the dark matter at the plant, causing it to expand and grow in size, signaling the start of the apocalypse. Jonas, devastated by Martha's death, vows to her lifeless body that he will fix everything. Just then, something unexpected happens. Martha from another world appears. She tells Jonas to come with her, and using her advanced time machine, she takes him away to a different reality. With this shocking twist, Season 2 comes to a dramatic end. Next video will be Season 3.